What's going on, everyone? How we doing? I just wanted to start the podcast by thanking a brand new Patreon. If you haven't yet supported this podcast, head to patreon.com/Savage Snowflake. But today I want to give a big shout out to Robert Nava. Welcome to the patrons on the Savage Snowflake podcast. And without further ado, let's get into the episode. Savage. What's going on, Savages? Welcome to another episode of the Savage Snowflake Podcast with me, Jeff Leach, Papa Jeff, Uncle Jeff, who comes over and is like, hey, can I borrow a cup of sugar? But then he stays for 3 weeks and ends up emptying the larder. That's the guy that I am. That's the guy I want to be for you. Just a friendly uncle. Very creepy intro, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, it's because I'm feeling a little bit sad and a little bit upset that I haven't been with you for the last week and a half. I do apologize. I've never, ever missed a week of this podcast since we started it almost, about 91 episodes ago now. And I apologize for doing so. I've been busy. That's what's been happening. I've been traveling the world. I went to New York City to do some shows out there for the Comedy Cellar, the Comedy Central filming of This Week at the Cellar. And then I came back from there and I've jetted straight off to Nashville in... I went to where did I go in Nashville, baby? Where did I go in Nashville? Nashville, Tennessee. Is that the right way around? Which one's the state? I don't fucking know. Tennessee is the state, and I went to Nashville, the city. It was very lovely, the home of music. Terrifying. Don't go there, though. Broadway, the main strip, it's like a war zone. That's what I'm going to have to tell you. Like a war zone, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, I was out there for Square Enix doing some hosting of their training room for the GameStop Manager event. It was very epic. Lots of new releases, some exciting things about Final Fantasy VII Remake, some stuff about Marvel's Avengers, none of which I can talk about. However, I have got a very special guest today who I'm excited to introduce to you, who follows that theme of epic video games and epic guests related to video games, ladies and gents. Before that, though, let me just give a shout out to all of the sponsors on Patreon. Thank you very much. If you are supporting this podcast, I love you. I appreciate you. Patreon.com/Savage Snowflake is the link. Go over there. You can donate as little as $1 a month. I know we've got about 50,000 unique listeners now, so thank you very much. If every single one of you gave me $1 a month, I'd be rich. You're not doing that right now, but that's all right because you want free content. It's fine. Don't worry. I'm just working really hard to do this for you every single week. That's all right. You don't need to pay me for it. It's fine. It's whatever. It's fine. I can pay my rent. It's fine. Honestly, it's fine. It's not fine, but it is fine. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much as well to Boundless Tech, our wonderful purveyors of the finest vaping technology. If, like me, you love to have a little smoke. California, that's how we do it. Then you want to head to boundlesstech.com. That's BNDLStech.com. Use the code SAVAGE. You'll get 25% off every single one of their fantastic bits of kit over there. They're wonderful people for supporting this podcast. I'd like you to support them, which in turn supports us. If they make sales, then they feel good to us. They keep giving us some lovely money to make this possible every month for you. And of course, manscaped.com as well, refining the gentleman, ladies and gentlemen. If, like me, you are a hirsute individual, you need to trim down that chest there. You can see it's nicely trimmed right now. And it's not just the chest you can work on, obviously, your downstairs areas. Your lady's not going to want to touch it, or your gentleman, whatever your preference. So make sure you go to manscaped.com, use code SAVAGE. You will get 20% off all of their fine kit over there to refine your downstairs areas, gents. You get 20% off, you get free travel, and free shipping, free travel for your products, and you'll also get a free leather travel bag that will arrive that's worth $50. Can't say fairer than that. It's going to be amazing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, joining me today as my guest on the Savage Snowflake, all the way from Bournemouth in the UK, I believe. That's where you're located, correct, sir?
That's it.
There you go. He's over. He's up on screen now. You're being seen. Look at that beautiful dome, that big smile. Love it, those sparkling eyes. Ladies and gentlemen, it's voice actor and actor in general, actually, and lecturer, I now know. Not only an incredibly talented voice actor, this man is also a bloody lecturer at university. It's Mr. Doug Cockle. How are you, sir?
I'm all right. Nice to be here, Jeff.
It's great to have you, man. And we'll get it out of the way straight off. I am a huge Witcher fan. I'm rereading the books right now. I've even got a little image of Geralt up on the screen right now, obviously because you voice Geralt in the video games, the hugely and wildly successful trilogy of games that were released by CD Projekt Red. And amongst a million other, I'm looking at your IMDb here, and it's just a scroll. You got at least 7 scrolls of
that's
voice.
That's not even up to date. That's the IMDb is rubbish in some ways, because if a project doesn't get kind of entered to IMDb by the owners of the project, then it doesn't exist.
I know that all too well, Doug. I know that all too well. In fact, I'm seeing here that you did a character on Smite back in 2014.
Yeah,
And
Chernobog.
that's our 1 degree of separation, because I also did a voice for a character in Smite as well. So that's
cool.
how
Who did you do?
I have to look it up. I can't remember the name of the character. Is that bad?
You gotta remember your characters, Jeff.
I know, but I mean, I do the work. I'm in and out. It's like my love life. Like, I'm in and out. My girlfriend's always whinging at me. Maybe you could hang around for a little while. Maybe make sure that I feel good. I'm like, in and out, baby. That's how I do it. Let's have a look. Smite. I did Achilles' Dark Knight. Dark Knight. He was like that. He was very Achilles' Dark Knight. He was a very aggressive young man. Yeah. But there you go. That's our 1 degree of separation. I have never done a character that's been so prolific, so well loved, and so incredibly, I guess, video game famous. Is that a fair way to describe it?
Yeah. Well, he's been. I can only tell you what people have told me, I suppose, but people have described him as iconic. The game as
life-changing.
Life-changing. That's a good one. Sure, yeah.
Dude, I have a picture
Stellar.
of Geralt, Ezio Auditore da Firenze, and Kratos in my bedroom, at the end of my bed, above the mirror there, because I have a mirror at the end of my bed, because I'm that douchebag. But I have like 1, 2, 3 pictures, and Geralt's up there. So actually, every morning when I wake up, I stare into your...
I can watch you sleeping.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what you want to do, watch me sleeping. If that's the choice of things to watch, that's completely up to you, Doug. Other stuff happens there as well.
That's just slightly creepier, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Porn is everywhere. So watching you, bang some lady or something, something, who knows? That's,
What are you suggesting? What are you suggesting?
I can get that on, just a quick, search.
A little search on Pornhub, exactly. That's the way to do it. Well, listen, I mean, it is... one of the most successful, wildly successful video games of all time, and that entire franchise as well. Obviously, it comes from a series of books that, like I say, I'm rereading them right now, and I'm absolutely in love with them. I think it's one of my favorite series. And then now there's going to be the TV show as well, starring Henry Cavill as Geralt. You and I actually just connected online because... I understand have a decent relationship with Lauren Hisrich, who's the showrunner for the TV series, and like so many people who are involved in the video games, it's almost like you have to now step up and go, hey, Reddit users who are very angry that certain things have been done in the TV series. I'm not angry, and I have to make that very clear that I'm very excited about this project, and the fact that what happened most recently is someone created a Henry Cavill face mod to go on the Witcher video game, and you were like,
it looks weird. It looks
you were like,
weird,
hey,
but
at least they kept my biceps and my rippling abs,
yeah.
which is all Doug Cockle. That's what I've heard. All Doug Cockle.
It's all me.
But you had to it's kind of crazy, isn't it? That gets to a point where you can become such a huge part, which you are, so well loved amongst the video gaming community and anyone who's ever played that game, that you have to now just point out to people in a very direct manner, hey, it's okay for art to be reinterpreted in different ways.
Yeah, it is. It is a bit of that. It's a funny old thing. People get, well, you know how it is online, on the internet, on Reddit, and places like that.
Never use the internet. Don't know what it's like.
People go nuts. People go bonkers over stuff that really is unimportant. You know what's important? Syria. That's important.
There you go.
Whether Henry Cavill's face is on Geralt's face in the game as a mod, who gives a shit?
There you go. Thank you. It makes zero difference to the enjoyment of the product. And here's the deal. I mean, look, it's not like the face, as far as I can tell, we've got you on camera right now. It's not as if like the face is an exact match of yours. I'm sure they took maybe subtle nuances of your movements. Maybe was there any mocap done with the recording?
Actually,
so who gives a fuck?
There was nothing. Yeah. So it's just my voice that I gave to Geralt. I didn't give him anything else. Well, except maybe his suave demeanor. And,
I was going to say that jawline. Look at that strong chin as well. Yeah.
The strong chin. Yeah, I gave him a strong chin.
Those cat's eyes. You obviously have the eyes of a cat as well.
His sexual abilities. I gave those entirely. They're all mine.
Well, listen, I also wanted to know. I mean, look, I'm not going to dwell on the Henry Cavill thing. I actually auditioned for the role of Geralt in the Witcher TV series too. I had an audition for him, and I had an audition for Jaskier, but they'd already picked their characters who they were going to have playing those. So it was a nice thing to do. Hopefully, season 2, that maybe that will render a performance for me. Have they reached out to you at all to do maybe a little cameo, a little cheeky cameo?
No, they haven't. No.
What?
I wish they had. I know. I suggested it to Lauren. In a DM. I just said, hey, what if you just get me in as like a guy tending the bar?
Yeah.
He just happens to run the tavern, and
it would be a wonderful nod to the success of the video game franchise.
Or I thought this would be great if I just showed up in every single episode as like a background character.
That'd be nice, as like an Easter egg.
Yeah,
that'd be fucking hilarious. You were like, all right, how can I get them to fly me out to some lovely location, get that beautiful on-site, meals, catering meals 3 times a day. Basically hang out. You don't even need any lines. You just got to be in the background. Or be like, or at some point they walk through a market and you go like, pound of fish. And then they're like, that's Doug Cockle. That's fucking Geralt from the video game. That would be so cool.
It'll be like, Where's Waldo? But
where's Doug?
Netflix series.
I love that. See, that would have been beautiful. I mean, they put fucking Ed Sheeran in Game of Thrones, didn't they?
I know.
Well, anyway, so we shouldn't expect that then. That's not going to be something that's going to happen in season 1.
No, maybe series 2. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
But I can totally understand it. Just like I when I heard about the Netflix series, I was like, well, there's no way I'm going to be cast as Geralt. So just put that right out of your head, Doug. It's just they want to make it their own thing.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
I understand that, and I respect that.
Right.
You got to do it. You got to do it your own way. I think it's I mean, first of all, the role of Geralt is only one small part of the incredible career that you've had, predominantly as a voiceover actor here. I'm looking through here, and you started all the way back in, according to at least IMDb, 2001. So that RuneScape role the first entry?
Oh, that's completely wrong. This is where IMDb is like, fake news. That's such a great term now.
Yeah. Why don't you tell me how did it kick?
Ago.
How did it kick off?
Well, first of all, RuneScape, I think it just automatically put in the first year that RuneScape was actually put out to the public.
Oh, it does that with Smite as well. I did Smite at the beginning of this year, and it says 2014. It's like...
Yeah. I think it probably says something like that for me as well. I did RuneScape 2 years ago.
Oh, wow, okay. But it was because it's a continuation of an existing title. It puts when that title was first released, yeah.
Yeah.
So what was the entry? Because you're also a lecturer at the at Bournemouth, or you were or still currently?
Yeah. I left in 2017, July 2017. I'd been there for 13 years.
And this was at Arts University Bournemouth, correct?
Arts University Bournemouth. I was the course leader for the BA Honors Acting course. Yeah.
Amazing.
Which was great. I loved it. But I kind of end of 2016. I was watching. Because you know how it is. You do something cool,
right?
And for me, that was The Witcher. So something that really raises your profile.
Absolutely.
And then there's this kind of wave, and you have to get on and write it, or it goes away.
Sure.
And I just found myself. I was so stressed and everything because I was trying to do my acting career and my full-time teaching job, and it just got too much. And I was like, well, I've got this wave. I'm coming to the end of this wave, or kind of the middle.
Right.
I got to get on it if I'm going to get on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I decided to leave the teaching job and go back to full-time freelancing, which is
scary.
The best decision I've ever made. It's scary as hell. I went and saw a therapist, man. I had to go see a therapist to make the decision.
I don't know who I am
such
anymore.
A big decision. I walked in. Tell me what to do.
It's such a good voice.
Anymore.
Oh wait, this is. I was going to save that for later in the podcast. I was going to get you to pretend being Geralt watching me sleep and just see what that sounds like, and then I'll just maybe I'll set one of those little motion sensors on that picture, so when people walk past it, just
be careful.
I see your face. It's just. But I mean, it's quite a jump though, isn't it? From teaching acting and teaching the practice of being a performer at a university, which is academic job. It's a highly respected job, and then going into something that a lot of people from the outside looking in go, That's just having fun, isn't it? Voiceover work, that's just having fun, isn't it? Being a voice actor.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is fun in the moment, but you've done it. It, some days are great. Some days you just go in and you're like, wow, I'm rocking this and I'm having a great time. And usually those days involve 1 hour of VO work.
Yeah. And
And
some
then you
days you
get
go
those.
in for 4 hours of battle cries.
Yeah, exactly. And then you walk out and you can barely speak.
Yeah, ginger
Yeah, so
crystals. That was my thing. Ginger crystals, crystallized ginger.
ginger
I'd have to,
crystals.
crystallized
Oh,
ginger. I'd
nice.
like suck that throughout or chew and suck on that throughout the session, and warm water and lemon
Oh,
and honey. That would be
I love a bit of peppermint tea. That helps me get through.
nice. There you go. Everyone's got
And do you know the Granny Smith apple trick?
no.
If you're getting a bit claggy, getting spit sounds and stuff like that, you
Yeah,
just bite into a Granny Smith, suck the juices out like a vampire.
because
Granny Smith
the
vampire.
acidic juice just like clears the
Yeah,
throat. Did not know that.
yeah, good one. That's a good one.
Every
Keep that in
day's a
mind.
school day. Look at that. You're technically, Doug. You're still lecturing right now. Look, you're inspiring. You're inspiring. I don't know if I'm a young mind anymore, but you're inspiring 35-year-old minds right now. Okay, so when did you move from California? Because you were born in Cali, right?
Yeah, I was born in 29 Palms, California.
And at what point did you say, okay, I've had enough of all this sunshine, beaches, happiness, people generally looking a little bit more upbeat. I want to go and be in a country where it's miserable, it rains all the time, and people look like they want to kill each other on the underground.
It was a woman, Jeff. It's
Hey!
always a woman.
It's always a woman, isn't it? Unbelievable.
No, I grew up. My dad was a Marine Corps officer, so I was born on the military base in 29 Palms,
Okay.
and then we moved around a lot. And then fast forward to Seattle, which is where most of my family is from,
Okay.
and still are. And I went back to Seattle after undergrad, and I met her, and she is a dual citizen. She was born in California as well, but her parents were they were from Sunderland.
Okay.
So when she was 14, her parents moved back to the UK. And then when she finished university, she went back to the US and did an internship in hotel and restaurant
And you
management
met
in
studying
Seattle.
together then?
Huh?
You met whilst you were studying together?
No. I was working full time, trying to be an actor, but I was working full time in a little secondhand bookshop, a place
Okay.
called Muggs Antiques in Pikes Place Market.
Okay.
And she came in her first day off the boat, as it were, to buy a book because she didn't have a TV or a radio or anything, and she loves reading.
Right.
So she bought a book off me, and I said, it's kind of Notting Hill-ish, She
What,
came
you
in, she
threw
bought the
an
book.
orange juice all down the front of her?
No,
No,
of
sorry,
course
that's
not. No, I didn't even have any orange juice.
That
I was
happens in
drinking
Notting Hill,
whiskey,
though,
man.
doesn't it? That happens in Notting Hill. Just
No. She bought the book, and she told me that she'd just arrived. She had this lovely British accent,
nice.
and I said, oh well, just bring that one back and take another one. Use me like a library. And that
Ooh,
was
that's
it. She came back.
that's the simultaneously the sweetest, nerdiest, but also sexiest thing I've heard. Use me like a library. It's very
Use me
simple.
like a library,
There you go.
quietly. And in the back shelves.
Never make any noise whilst you're using me, please. Just and make sure you return what you take.
No,
That's
you
what
can
I need.
whisper.
You can whisper. Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
So you fell in love. She moved back, and you went, all right, I'm coming out.
No, she didn't move back. She stayed there, and we dated, and then eventually I asked her 3 times to marry me. Twice while I was doing dishes.
Really?
That's romantic.
That's super romantic. Nothing says spend the rest of your life with me like dishwater.
Yeah, it's a funny thing though, because what I love about our relationship is actually, we were best friends.
Okay.
And so it was just a natural kind of progression of a conversation we were already happening. And it would go something like this, I'd go, oh man, I loved that tonight. That was fantastic. I love hanging out with you. You're so funny. And then suddenly I go, we should just get married. And that's not really a proposal, but it's kind of a proposal.
It is.
And then we'd talk about it. And then she'd go, I'm just not ready. So
You got to wait sometimes, though. That's all right. The lady who makes you wait, that's the one you're going to want the most.
well,
right?
yeah.
And now you got kids as well. So you
Yeah,
definitely sealed the deal, mate, right?
Oh yeah, we sealed the deal. Yeah, yeah. I've got 2 teenage boys. Oh.
Now, how do you mar up that being, video game royalty with having teenage boys who I imagine like playing video games, potentially?
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Well, I think it was one of those things when because they are 17 and 15
Right.
now. So when they kind of became aware of what I did, uh, as part of what I did to make a living, and when they became aware of The Witcher, then it was kind of this thing. They weren't quite sure what to do with all that, but their friends would come around, and my youngest son Toby, I think he must have been about thir 12, 13 at the time.
Okay.
His friends would come around. He'd just kind of look at me, look at his friend, go, Dominic, because
Your
he
dad.
told them about it. He's like,
Yeah.
that's my dad. That's the guy who does Geralt. So
That's
yeah,
pretty
it was really
epic.
cute. Actually, it was really cute. But no, mostly I'm just the the prick who tells them to do the dishes.
Yeah, absolutely. And then proposes whilst he's doing them.
Yeah, to them. No,
Well,
I'd
maybe
never
not to
do
your
that.
kids. Not proposing to your kids. Yeah, you propose that they should go and do their homework directly after the dishes.
Oh
There you
yeah,
go.
yeah. Oh, do you know what though? The weirdest thing about having teenage boys, I don't know if it's any different with girls, but just an example. All right, I was I was brushing my teeth a couple months ago,
Right.
and I was like, just brushing away, and I was like, "What is that? What is that in my teeth?" I pulled out a little hair, and I was like, "What is that? Where? What is that? That doesn't. It's not one of mine. It doesn't look like Marianne's." And I suddenly realized it was a pube. It was one of my son's pubes. I was brushing my teeth with my son's pubes. I was like, "What? This is what living with teenage boys is about." Because that stuff's everywhere. Because teenage boys, they're
What?
they're
No,
like they're like.
no. No, Doug, that's not a thing. I'm sorry to inform you, your son.
It's just a
And
reality,
you
man.
you and your son had an argument, and he took your toothbrush and combed his pubic hair. That's what that happened. I'm sorry to inform you. You've gone the sweet and innocent. Clearly just some pubes are floating around the bathroom. No, your son was like, "I'll show that bastard." He's fucking.
I'll show him.
I'll
Yeah.
show him, and he fucking got down there with your toothbrush. Unbelievable. You need to beat your son. That's what you need to do, Doug. A good, strong Geralt backhand. That's what you need. One of those. I don't know, maybe. I've never raised a son. I raised someone else's daughter for a few years. I was a sort of a dad for about 4 years to someone else's little girl. And that was wonderful. Girls are great in the sense that they want to be women. So they want to help. They want to do everything that a mum does. They go, "Oh, let me look after the baby," or let me help. If you're cooking, let me come and help cook, like with the parents. They want to grow up very quickly because they're emotionally more developed. Whereas little boys, as far as I can tell, just destroy everything until about the age of 18, and then they fuck off, and that's it. They just destroy, and then they fuck off, and then you're like, "Oh, thank God they're gone." But then when you need them to come and put up a shelf when you're like 70, they're useful again. Yeah. We have a very limited shelf life of use, I think, for parents. Okay, so it was quite cool to have. So there were moments of like, it's cool to be this hero in this video game franchise that so many millions of people have played around the world and absolutely loved. Is there also another side to? Because I like you say, I'm definitely a fledgling voice actor compared to the likes of yourself. Or, I met Nolan North last week, and obviously that
he's
man,
a nice guy, isn't he?
he's a very charming guy, actually. Yeah, he was very sweet. He was there doing some stuff for Square Enix as well because he's going to be in the Marvel's Avengers game as Tony Stark. Now he was very cool to chat to, but we chatted a little bit about creepy fans. And I know for every one teenage boy who's your son's friend who's like, "Oh, that's so cool, your dad's Geralt. Oh my God." There's at least 10 strange men and women on the internet who've sent you links to fan fiction where it's about Doug Cockle and Geralt just getting down to the dirty business.
Is that the research you've been doing?
I mean, this. You jest, but I love finding every aspect of what fame and success in any industry entails. You know, we had Seth Green on here, you know, maybe a few months ago, and he talked quite openly about that element of it. And I wondered if you've kind of seen any of that, or if you've been at least privy to some of the very strange fan fiction that comes with being a successful actor in a franchise that famous.
Well, I've actually been really, really fortunate in that way. Most of the people who I come into contact with, anyways, are really sweet. There are levels of weirdness out there. You know, the gaming community is fantastic because it's so inclusive. It's such a wonderful community. But part of what makes it so wonderful, makes that inclusiveness so wonderful, is that real colorful people
Absolutely
are part of that community. They're part of every community, but
it's
the gaming
called,
community
allows
them to be really.
They're called
wonderfully
Asperger's,
weird.
Doug. Sorry, they're called Asperger's. It's like on the spectrum is what those
on
people
the spectrum.
On
Yeah.
the spectrum,
Oh man. Yeah. So there's all kinds of weirdness out there. I have read some of the fan fiction that is more erotic and stuff like that. That's fun to read.
Yeah. You liked
I haven't
it?
seen anything that has connected me to it. It's always just Geralt. You know what I mean? But if you found something, you got to share it with me because
I saw that you've also just you've started doing Cameo as well, right?
I've been doing that for about 8-9 months, something like that.
Oh, you've been doing it for a little while. So how many strange requests have you had there? Like, could you please say in the Geralt voice, "Ooh, Vivian, you've been a very bad girl. I'm gonna have to smack you with my
I've
Gwent,
had none of
a
that.
deck
I've
of
had
Gwent
none of that.
cards."
People have been really, really sweet. People have been great.
Well, I guess I know what I'm doing this afternoon. That's requesting.
But at conventions, I sometimes get, particularly women, but I've had a few guys as well, who they pay for an autograph, they pay for a selfie, and then if they're really flush, they pay for a recording as well. And I've had a few people ask me to say things that are,
What's the strangest?
suggestive.
What's the most strange that you've had to say for someone?
Well, I can't. I didn't actually say this. I had to alter it. I can't remember what I altered it to, but I do remember the request. This woman asked me to say, "Oh, baby, yes, please, keep doing it, just like that." Something like that, something along those lines. It was, very, very obvious.
If she watches this now, she's gonna be like, "He did it! I got it! I got the recording I needed." I should have ruined it in the background, just putting some weird voice as well, so she couldn't get the recording she wanted. So she was definitely looking to use that for some kind of sexual purpose.
Oh yeah. I've had people ask me to make do ringtones and things like that, or just messages for their partner, their boyfriend or their girlfriend, saying suggestive things and stuff like that. So, yeah.
What's your process for coming up with the voice? Because obviously, look, your natural speaking voice, I understand, and again, this is probably true of quite a lot of voice actors. I think there seems to be two roles for voice actors. Either it's very much caricature, it's very much changing and manipulating your voice to sound very different. So, for instance, your Geralt voice is very different to your natural speaking voice. I played an orc in Total War Warhammer, like the orc war boss there, and that was as different as you could get from my own natural voice. However, there's also other voices where it's your voice. It's they're hiring you as an actor because it really is I think we finally reached a point now with video games, especially with the inclusion of major Hollywood actors like Kevin Spacey, career rest in peace, maybe you should have tried fucking 14-year-old boys or whatever it was. But, people like him, now you got Norman Reedus, who's going to be in, Death Stranding.
Well, there were loads of people who were in Anthem, that game that just came out recently. Loads of like A-lister actors and stuff like that.
Keanu Reeves is going to be in Cyberpunk 2077. So, it's now people in the acting industry, aside from the voice acting industry, are finally going, oh, this is a legit art form. Oh, it's almost like you have to be good at acting to do this. It's like, yeah, motherfuckers, we've known that for over a decade. That's why video games have been earning more money than the literary film and TV industry put together for almost a decade. But do you have one particular strain that you prefer to do? Do you prefer doing the voice of Doug Cockle playing a role, but with your own voice, or do you really prefer manipulating your voice and getting to create something that is ostensibly not you, and that's more fun?
I love veering away from my natural voice
Okay.
or my Geralt voice. I often get hired to play the kind of reluctant anti-hero. That's the category I seem to fall into most recently for video games.
Okay.
um,
You need a bite of an apple. Granny Smith, mate.
I
That's what you need,
do,
right?
yeah. No, I've got some coffee here.
What are the what kind of characters lately stick out to you that make you feel like, okay, I'm really getting to push the boundary on this?
Well, there was a game. Nothing lately. I'm still kind of lately doing kind of my voice, or actually,
Okay.
Geralt's voice has become my voice because I've done it so much that that lower register that I didn't used to use very much has just become very natural. So I'll be
Okay.
walking around the house. I'm like, oh man, I got to do the laundry.
yeah,
But I'm literally just talking to myself, but it's
yeah.
Geralt's voice that falls out. You know what I mean?
And it also you sound like you're in an epic movie at all points of the day. I quite like that.
Yeah.
Oh man, I really needed to take a big shit this afternoon. That coffee went right through me.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, a couple things I have played that were really fun to do. There was a game called Book of Unwritten Tales, and I played Nathaniel Bonnet in it.
Okay.
And Nathaniel Bonnet is this cheeky, sarcastic, cynical, ne'er-do-well, but good character overall. And he was great fun to play because I just got to be, well, funny in a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and there was another game called Randall's Monday. I got to do two characters, one guy called Mel and one guy called Bob. And I can't remember which was which, but one ran a burger stand and the other ran a pawn shop. And so I think, I don't remember, but I think that Mel was sort of a New York kind of sound, you know? So we had a bit of fun with that. And it's always fun to just change it up, do some different things. I did some voices for Driver San Francisco, I think it was. I did like 5 or 6 voices for that. And one of them was a Hispanic voice. I was like, you should just hire a Hispanic dude to do this.
I got a
But
job offer through the other day that I actually had to turn down to play a samurai. And they said, oh, we want you to talk in English, but we want a Japanese accent. And I said, look, I could do it, but I would feel really bad doing it. Because
yeah,
I think
right?
I think there's Japanese American or Japanese English voice actors out there who will do this much better than I would, and also then I'm not going to get some kind of vitriol online for, what do you mean a white English guy played this Japanese, you know what I mean, like samurai character. Maybe I should have taken the money, but I just think it wasn't enough money to make it that much of a, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. For me, it was kind of one of those moments when, when you get called in to do voiceovers, and you've done 3 different voices already, and they're just like, okay, there's these 4 lines here, we just like you to do them, and can you just do them in a Hispanic accent?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, just knock them out because we've got 3 more voices to get to.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing. Okay, all
Yeah,
right, here's my best Hispanic voice.
yeah, exactly. You just got to power through it
Yeah.
and hope that you don't get a slew of emails from,
Yeah,
your
well, I think
Hispanic
this is
fan.
the first time I've ever mentioned it, so hopefully this won't be the beginning of the avalanche of hate.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's 4 lines. It's all right. It's fine. It's fine. It's going to be cool. I don't think there's going to be a unionization of the Latin American voiceover actors guild who are going to say, like, this is ridiculous. Or, this is ridiculous, man. I don't know how they would do it. I can't really do a Latin very well.
Oh man, mine is so Cheech and Chong. I go right back to, it's ridiculous, man. I don't know what to do here. It's like, it's so
It's
terrible.
crazy. Yeah, it's crazy, man. I don't know what's going on. I see. I just look a bit racist, even just doing it.
I know, because you have to do the face, don't you? I don't know
Yeah.
what the face is, but
I went a bit Italian there. Now, because you've become so prevalent, and I think this is also another thing for people like ourselves and lots of other voiceover talent. I was talking to Nolan North last week, like I said, and his plan was always to be an on-screen actor, which your start was with on-screen performances was to be an actor, not a voice actor, correct?
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, I trained as a stage actor, really, and then yeah.
when you start, when something like the voice acting side of your career really starts to gain momentum and starts to grow, and to the point where, I mean, you obviously have reached certain heights that, you know, someone like myself has not yet got to, where you're like, oh, I've done an iconic character now a number of times, and I know you returned to him obviously with the Gwent video game, the card game, and also with Soul Calibur as well. You just did Geralt of Rivia for
and
Soul
Monster
Calibur
Hunter World, man.
Oh, Monster Hunter World. Wait, Geralt's in Monster Hunter World?
Yeah, he's got a whole quest. He shows up through a portal, of course.
I did not fucking know that.
He's got a whole thing going on in there, man.
Oh, dude. All right, I'm gonna have to go back and play it again. But when is there ever a moment where you sit down and you go, all right, I'm very happy for the success, and I'm sure you have, you know, a lovely home and, you know, mortgage paid and things like that because of the great work that you've done with voice acting. So no one's ever going to be upset about that. But is there ever any moments in downtime where you kind of go, have I passed up on opportunities, or have I missed out on opportunities that I might have had if I'd solely focused or continued to focus on trying to get those on stage, on screen roles versus, you know, in the booth voice acting roles? Because I know from a personal side, sometimes I think about that, and sometimes I go like, am I doing the right things? Is this all part of the same world closely enough?
Yeah. Do you know what? First of all, I want to say this because I think that people sometimes see, I don't know what it's like in the States because I've been over here for 20 years.
Sure.
21 years? 20 years.
England likes to segregate out talents. That's why I left England and moved to America.
Yeah, it does like to do that. But it's a digital age now. So, you know, that, you know, things can, you know, like you and I talking now, you know, couldn't have happened 20 years ago. But
fucking technology, mate. It's amazing.
But I think sometimes people think that on the back of The Witcher, you know, I was able to, you know, that I made tons of money out of it.
Oh, I don't think that.
No, but a lot of people do. Yeah. They look at this iconic character and they go, "Oh man, he must have made a mint off that."
Surely.
I was paid well. So this is partly for anybody who's watching this, who might be thinking about going into voice acting, thinking that there's a mint to be made.
Yep.
There isn't. It's not quite the same as Hollywood.
Top grade pay, unless you're an established on-screen actor who's being brought in for a project for a cameo or something like that, or if you're doing mocap as well for it. I think when you're doing mocap as well as the voice, you tend to get a proper SAG or equity actors rate. Whereas most of the stuff, you go and do like an hour bit, we'll go like, oh yeah, you're getting paid like $250 to $300 or $400 an hour. Now I know that once you move up the ranks, you can get a lot more than that, but that's kind of like, you might do like a day's work, which is a few hours, but when you think that has to stretch out for months of, you know, paying rent, paying bills, paying for your kids' education, etc.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, because you might go in and do like 2 or 3 days worth of voiceover work, but then you might have nothing for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And if you're getting paid 200 or 300 over here pounds an hour, and then the buyouts have gotten less and less over the years.
Absolutely,
they used to be pretty decent. Now an average buyout is between £200 and £500 over here. I don't know what it's like in the US.
Oh, it's about $200 to $500. Oh, actually, that's a lie. No, sorry. It depends what the job is. In fact,
it does depend on the job. Yeah.
Ironically, a proper acting job in voiceover work, so a role like Geralt, you would be paid. You get quite a few hours out of it, but it wouldn't be the best rate, and the buyout would be pretty basic. But then 15 seconds of voice for a Vauxhall commercial that's going to show in the cinema. I did a job once for what's Citroen, whatever the fuck,
C5 or something.
Yeah, it was some shit like that, and it was literally like rear view cameras as standard, dual brakes or whatever, ABS as blah blah blah. The new Citroen C1, blah 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 blah. It was 15 seconds of fucking voice work, and I walked in and I did the first read, and they were like, "Yeah, that's perfect, mate." This was when I was still in England 4 years ago, and they were like, "Oh yeah, lovely, yeah, that was perfect." All the people there, they were like, "Yeah, great, yeah, great." They went, "Can you just do exactly the same thing one more time for safety?" I was like, "All right." The Citroen C1 with standard thing, blah blah blah, and then they were like, "All right, you're all good, Jeff." I was like, "Thank you very much." £20,000 I got paid for that. 20,000 British pounds. What's that? Like 25 to 30 fucking $1,000 at that point for 15 seconds. And yet I've done like hours of Yeah, to the battlefield. Unbelievable. Blah, blah, blah. Grab them. Blah, blah, blah. To the point where I can't fucking speak for 4 days. And I earn about $500. You know what I mean? It's
yeah. It's insane. It's absolutely insane.
But there was a big strike last year. You know, there were the voiceover industry, at least in America, we had that strike for almost a year where no one got paid anything because they weren't doing any fucking work. But, you know, then they tried to ferry it out to non-union voiceover actors who would do it for nothing and do terrible jobs. But it's a really hard business to have success and to have financial stability in.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's acting all over, isn't it? I mean, that's art all over, you know, whether you're a visual artist or a musician or an actor or whatever. It's, you know, it's not easy. It's not easy stuff. But going back to your question, and you were, the second part of your, what you said, what was it? What did you say?
Well, I was talking a bit about the about stepping back from the on-screen or stage acting roles. Was there a moment where you go, am I focusing too much on the voiceover?
Oh yeah. Oh man, the way I always look at it, and the way I always explain this to my students, because I was always really aware with my acting students that there's a certain amount of naivete and innocence that goes with becoming an acting student. Did you go that route? Did you do drama school, or
I wanted to, and then my parents were like, "Get something to fall back on." Yeah, you got to go and do something. So I did English literature and theatre studies at Warwick University, which is a very good university.
Oh, nice! That's a great university.
Yeah, but it's boring. Everyone there has like mid-length brown hair. They take notes. They don't talk in seminars. So I went through 3 years of university doing everything except my degree. I still got a 2-1. I did all right, but
that's good. Yeah,
but I came out and I had done everything else. I'd already started to do, you know, I was what's called commercial radio and producing on a radio show and doing like running shows in London, like live music shows. So I realized that everything around university was really what I needed to be doing. I wish I'd gone to a drama school, but then maybe I shouldn't have done. Maybe I wouldn't be the person I am now, you know.
Well, you wouldn't be, would you? You'd be a different person.
No, I'd be infinitely more handsome, I think, if I'd done. I'd be self-absorbed if I got to drama college, right?
You cannot improve on the perfection that Jeff Leach currently is.
Wait, that's going on my next tour poster. You are perfection.
You are perfection.
Doug Cockle, aka Geralt of Rivia. That's a pretty good fucking stamp. I think, of approval.
I think the thing is, what I used to tell my students was that the industry will put you into the pigeonhole that it wants to put you into.
Absolutely.
You can go into the industry wanting desperately to do this or that or whatever it is. And if the industry doesn't want you there, it's not going to have you there. It's just not going to happen. So you have to you go out there and do everything. People used to poo-poo video games. People used to, you know, some people poo-poo doing extras work. I actually think doing a bit of extras work, just don't put it on your CV, is a good thing because you get to see how a set works.
There you go.
You get to see how the more experienced actors who are playing the principal roles and the supporting roles, how they handle their time on camera, how they handle themselves off camera, everything else. Great experience. So, you know, for young actors going into the industry, go out there and do everything. Be judicious about it, but go do everything and see what doors open. Because that's what you've got to do. You just got to go, that door is open to me. I'm walking through.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as it's a legit role, you know, a legit door, like, you know, if a porn door opens and you're really not interested in porn, then don't go through it. But, you know,
But I mean, send me the link though, because I'll definitely watch.
I'll
give feedback on your acting performance. Just reviewing porn.
I'll be a stand-in.
That's actually really, by the way, very funny. A very funny concept, I think, for an online show. I don't know. Oh my God, Doug! I think we might have come up with an idea.
What's this? What's going on?
All right, I've had an idea for some kind of content that's never been done before, and you've just helped me come up with it. This is what it is. It's Doug Cockle. Because this is something you really want to attach your name to. Doug Cockle and Jeff Leach, right? We play two characters, a little bit like Mystery Science Theater. Is that what it's called? Mystery Science Theater?
Science Theater 3000?
3000? Yeah, where they had the little robots and the other characters at the bottom in silhouette. But we do different character voices. So it could be like one could be an old man who's just very, very much into pornography. And then the other one could be like a little kid. And those two voices, and they live review 3-minute porn videos from Pornhub, and then because you can upload to Pornhub and you can make money. One of my friends who I have about 3 or 4 very close friends, well, not very close, sorry, but friends, good friends in
Close
the porn
enough,
industry.
yeah.
Yeah, they're one of them's a guy, 3 of them are ladies that work in porn, and very, very prolific porn actors. They're very successful. And I had them on the podcast because they're hilarious and they're very open with the way they speak. We could literally take 3-minute videos, dub over our live reviews, and then re-upload them to Pornhub as comedy content. I think that'd be hilarious. If I was scrolling through Pornhub and I just found like live review porn, but the problem is then it's like it probably counts against what do I want to do with my career in the future, and do I really want to be dubbing over porn? Anyway, it's an idea. It's an idea, Doug. I've thrown it out there. We could do a test.
Funny,
we could do a test run.
But you know how you could get around that. It wouldn't have to be hardcore porn. It could
There
be
you go.
softcore. Do like Red Shoe Diaries commentary.
How about
like
this
that.
as an idea? How about this as an idea to take it another step? We only review the acting. We never review the sex. So it stops. As soon as they start to have sex, the video stops, and then we review the beginning and the ends. So the intro to it, so like, hey, oh my God, did you get trapped under the bed? Do you know what I mean? It's like, well, first of all, she's clearly not trapped. This is, yeah. How does so many women get stuck in Windows? That's what I want to know. Who's not using WD-40 on these windows? Ridiculous. She needs a man around the house just to fucking, just to keep the lubrication of the ventilation of her apartment going strong. But we could review the beginning where they're not having sex, and then as soon as bow, 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 that goes, we cut, and then we cut to the end where they're post-coital laying there like, well, don't tell your dad I did that. We were like, that could be the way to do it. There you go. So it's always PG-13, but
we should do it just for fun.
Yeah, that'd be pretty hilarious, I think. That could be a really fun series, dude.
We don't even have to put our names to it, Jeff. We could just
we do it as characters.
Anonymously.
As characters, yeah, as characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, good. Well, we come up with an idea.
I
there
could
we
be
go.
the kid. I could be like, Grandpa, what's she doing?
I'm
That's
not
a
really
terrible
sure.
kid voice,
Yeah, exactly. And also, you're going to be American. I'm going to be like should I be a British? I just want to do I just love doing an old wizard voice. That's my favorite voice. Do you have a favorite character? Well, look, mine is like an old wizard voice. I understand what we're doing here. Come, young warrior. Use your powers. Embrace who you should be. I love that. I just love like an old authoritative voice.
That's great.
Do you have a favorite voice? Because this is the thing that I always ask a question then follow up with 10 minutes of monologue. I'm going to try not to do that. However, I know that all voice actors are a little bit mental. We're also a little bit still children who like to play characters all day, every day in our day-to-day life. I'm guarantee you walk around the house and when you're doing small tasks or whatever, you've already established that you've now almost taken your Geralt voice as like a secondary. Oh, I really gotta do the washing up this afternoon. Like, I know that you do that. Is there a voice that you love to do that's just like for your own fun over the course of the day?
Oh, it changes. It changes. It depends. Because, you'll probably recognize this in yourself. Those moments when I love to copy real people.
Okay.
I love to observe real people. And then like, I'll be, this isn't a voice, but I'll be walking down the street and someone in front of me will have what I think is a really unique kind of saunter or something.
Their gait is like a particular
gait, like a strut, or it could be just the way they carry their body or whatever it is, and I'll just almost unconsciously just start doing it. So
that's amazing. Be careful they don't see you. You might get punched in the face.
Well, yeah, exactly. I'm always I come to a point in doing it when I realize either someone else is watching me do this, thinking I'm taking the piss out of this person,
right?
Or this person's going to turn around, see me doing this, and come beat the crap out of me.
Yeah, you got to be careful, I think.
Yeah. Get knifed for,
Do you know what I mean? For walking down the road like this. Look at me, I'm a fucking geezer, innit? Do you know what I mean? Also, living in England, I imagine you're probably one of the only American actors who can actually do a very good English accent. Am I right or am I wrong?
Oh, I don't know. I think think probably lots of people can. It's
Not as far as I've found. Not since I moved to America. Everyone wants to do their English accent when they meet me. And they're all like, hello, look at me. I'm from England. I'm an American doing an English accent. Ah.
the Dick Van Dyke curse, isn't it?
Yeah, they do either we're out of some kind of, Guy Ritchie movie like, I'm a fucking English guy. Or it's always, oh, hello, I'm British and I'm very
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. See, I'm better if I have something to actually read. I don't have anything to read here. Um, uh, well, I'll just give it a go then. I tend to sound quite posh. I don't know why that is, but I do tend to take on a sort of a posh accent when I do an English accent.
I like that. It's
So
it's understated, but it's British. And it's
yeah,
like,
I don't.
yeah.
Does it sound relatively accurate to you?
It does, yes. No, it sounds quite accurate, yes.
Oh,
Yes.
nice. Because
Yes.
I can also do sort of an East End sort of thing, but it's not very good in some ways. I tend to go a bit Australian with it sometimes.
Yeah,
That's slipped
the
there.
East End's got to be it's got to be a bit harder, innit? It's got to be like, you know what I mean? It's more clips. It's in the back of the mouth.
Yeah.
Whereas you're rounding it out too much, but we got to keep it all in there. It's like I'm chewing food all the time. Oh, fucking all right, mate. I've got food in my mouth. That's how
Yeah.
that's the Cockney.
Oh, that's a good way to describe it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like I'm like
Just
chewing something.
keep it all up in the fucking mouth, man. Now
Yeah,
I've
you
screwed
got.
it up entirely. No, I'm not like a chameleon. I really admire those actors who can like pick up accents and just do them. I have this friend named Sean, and he is an accent wizard. He's
Right.
amazing, and he'll just rattle through. It'll go Newcastle to Liverpudlian to
Yeah.
Mancunian to Somerset farmer to blah blah
Yeah.
blah this blah 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 that. Oh, and here's a bit of Alabama and some Boston and some Chicago.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what the difference between Boston and Chicago is? Here you go. And it's like, whoa, dude, how do you do that?
See,
I'm
now
not one of those.
accents has definitely been my forte. However, I will say this: when as a voice actor, you're so focused on carrying off the accent perfectly, or at least trying to do a very on point. And this is true when I like most of the stuff I audition for on screen is all American accents. Like I think I've had one British casting in the last year, but I
It's crazy,
realize
man, because like Americans love English accents.
I
It
know
doesn't matter where it's from. If
I know.
and it's even better if you can't understand a word you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, if you're auditioning for Peaky Blinders, yeah, maybe. Do you know what I mean? But I do think, but I will say this is that I've noticed that I have to work 6 times as hard to do a decent performance because when you're focusing so much on the accent, you lose a little bit of the intonation. And obviously, the thing that sold you, certainly, I mean, as Geralt, is every time when we're playing that game, we're really in your story because of the performance you're giving. It's not like, oh, he's just doing a cool, deep, tough guy voice. It wasn't just that. You're capturing a character who is meant to be devoid almost of human emotion, but is constantly battling with the fact that he does have some. He does feel love for Yennefer Vengerberg. He does feel a patriarchal, protective love for Ciri. He has these so many different facets to who he is. He's not a monster, but he's been told his whole life he's a monster. And I think that's harder to do as soon as you start going, well, now I'm from up north and I've got to try and do that whilst I'm also being a northern bastard. It's like, how do I do that and also really think about what I'm saying,
Yeah. Well, that was one of the hardest things I found about doing Geralt was early on in Witcher 1. The guys from CD Projekt were adamant that he be emotionless, and I was like, man, that's like the opposite of what my job is.
Yeah.
My job is to explore that in a character.
Yeah.
But also, it just fundamentally didn't ring true to me. So I think I was always putting a little bit of emotion into Geralt. And I like to think, I don't know if this is true, Jeff. I have no idea if this is true, but I like to think that I influenced CD Projekt's views on their writing of Geralt's dialogue and his experiences. because by the time we get to Blood and Wine and stuff like that, I mean, he's almost a different character
Yeah.
emotionally. So between me kind of pushing some of those moments where emotion was possible
Mm-hmm.
and them kind of going, actually, we can carry him through this. We can do this. He can go
Mm-hmm.
there.
Mm-hmm.
We managed to make that journey. But I never felt that he was emotionless. I always felt that Geralt is this guy who has a job that he can't be emotional about. He cannot let his emotions get in the way or he's dead. So he has to, it's the ultimate kind of male psyche of, shut it down, no emotions. I can't feel
He's a
about
soldier.
this.
He's a soldier, like a day-to-day
Yeah.
soldier. Even though I know
Yeah.
in the books he constantly reaffirms, I'm not a soldier. I do this for money. I do this, to protect. But that's, again, another part of the duality of that character. Oh, this
Yeah.
is why I'm meant to do this. You train at Kaer Morhen, you do that, you go and you become a witcher, you work for money, you protect the lands from these monsters, and that's what your job is, and you're meant to be an emotionless monster. And yeah, I care about characters. Everything he does throughout the books and the video games is to protect innocent, is to protect those who can't protect themselves, is to look after the family he's built around him, or that's been built around him by his, his Witcher, I guess his elders, etc., etc. He's.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the most important thing to capture. Actually, that's probably the tagline for it. The most important thing for you to capture as a voice actor for that role was the emotional conflict of a man who was meant to have no emotions.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that in some ways. Yeah.
You're like, oh, yeah,
No, I'd never thought about it that way. That's a really good description in some ways of
Yeah.
of what the challenge was there.
Yeah. Did you have any conversation with Henry Cavill regarding the TV series? Did they reach out at all? Or did he send you a message? Because
No.
he said
I
in
would love to.
interviews he was a very big fan of the books, and also he played the video games. And
Yeah.
I wondered whether he would have dropped you like a little DM and gone, "Hey, listen, man, I'm doing this role. I just want to say, first of all, loved you in the games. Secondly, yeah, how did you kind of mar that or marriage that? Sorry, that juxtaposition of a man who's meant to have no emotion and yet showing some emotions. He didn't do that.
Yeah, no, he didn't do that. But he's Henry Cavill. Why would he?
I don't know, because he's a huge fan of the games and the books, and I feel like that would be a thing to. I would have done that. I think I would have liked to have gotten as much as I wouldn't have taken any advice you gave as this is how I have to do it, because
Yeah.
you're reinterpreting and reimagining that art as an actor, and you want to do that in your own way, and you don't want to be too influenced by other people. I think it would have been an interesting conversation to have.
Do you know what I would have loved to do? And this is almost completely different. I would have loved to have had the paparazzi catch us outside a little tea shop somewhere over here in England, because he's English.
Absolutely, yeah.
Actually having tea and just have a picture of the two of us either deep in conversation or having a good laugh.
Or fighting to the
snapshot.
death. Fighting to the death. There can only be one. It's like Highlander.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, it is like Highlander, isn't it?
Yeah, you have to pass on the
just
mantle.
that image of the two of us sitting there and the caption, something like the two Geralts hashing it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever it is,
It would have been cool. Listen, irrespective of what, how little, how much, the TV series have reached out to yourself and other people who were, behind the video game or the books prior to that. I think also just that there's always going to be a knock-on effect that, he said he's played the video games, he's played your interpretation of Geralt. So there's always going to be a little influence there,
Yeah, probably. But I suppose just like,
I think it's fair to say that Henry Cavill's entire performance will be based on Doug Cockle's performance.
Of course it will. Of course it will.
It's like, let's just say that. Let's just go with that.
Oh man, theft is the highest form of flattery.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
In performance.
imitation.
I mean,
yeah.
I played Benedict in Much Ado About Nothing when I was in grad school, and I completely stole from Kenneth Branagh's performance in the movie.
Yeah.
I just ripped him off. I just took it. I like that. I'm taking
Love it.
that.
I'm gonna grow a beard. Just a short one. Just a short
But
one.
you know what I mean? It's like it's theft, but it's not, because even if you take something that someone else has done as inspiration for what you end up doing, it still has to be processed through your own instrument, so it does become yours.
Absolutely.
Because you can never well, people, really good impressionists can get really close, but nobody can completely accurately redo what someone else has done.
Of course not. There'll be subtle nuances, facial
Yeah.
movements, performance elements that will just intrinsically be you or them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
a good
That's pretty
idea
cool.
is a good idea. I mean,
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
encourage everyone out there who's an artist, steal.
But don't pass it off as your own. At least tell
No.
people you were influenced in some
Yeah.
way. Otherwise, you become like the fat Jewish and you just steal other people's content and pass it off as your own for years and years and years, make millions of dollars off it, and never once pay a penny to any of those people you stole memes from or videos from or content from. That's just someone sent me a link the other day to one of the fat Jewish's like Instagram posts and was like, "This is hilarious, isn't it?" I was like, "Yeah," for whoever actually came up with it, because he doesn't
I don't
ever
even know
post
who
that
this
content.
is.
He's just a social influencer, social media guy who had accounts that had lots of funny memes and videos and images, and he would literally take other people's content, crop out their username or whatever it is, and just repost it as his own thing. And he built an entire career off that. It's like
Wow.
it's also
That's
like
really shitty.
yeah, it's like the Fuck Jerry guys. That PR company Fuck Jerry. They did the same thing. They built huge social media followings, just stealing other people's content and reposting it. And now they're like, oh yeah, now we're going back and we're going to really look after those people. It's like, no, you're not. You're fucking liars. But that's social media.
Yeah.
All right, dude. Wow. We've kind of got into it. I feel like we could talk for another hour.
Hey, before we go, because I always like to do this. I want to ask you some questions.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Go.
So what took you to LA? Or you went to New York first?
Oh yeah, we can get into that.
Comes out of your mouth occasionally and other things. You go, New York is home.
Yeah,
New
so
York is home.
the East Coast feels more like home because I feel like London and New York are very similar. But I moved to New York because the Comedy Cellar, a venue there, sponsored my visa and helped to bring me out. That's my home
brilliant.
club, and I couldn't turn down that opportunity. And then I moved out there, spent 2 years there, and I went to LA because I was incredibly depressed. I have depression, and I was drinking a lot, and I was partying a lot to kind of hide how desperately sad I was. I was streaming for 12 to 14 hours a day on Twitch at the time, and then going and doing stand-up in the evening, so I was never seeing sunlight. And I got to a point where 2.5 years ago, I wanted to kill myself. And then I went, well, I should probably move somewhere where I'm a bit happier. I should try and be honest about what's making me miserable. I have seasonal affective disorder, so I moved to the sunshine. That helped. I feel like a lot of people in New York are very quick to be cynical and aggressive and angry, at least on the outside.
No.
They have hard shells but warm insides, whereas LA, everyone has warm outsides but very cold insides. So
that is such a great description of the two cities.
yeah, so I'd rather be around people who at least on face value are like, hey man, it's gonna be good, everything's good, dude, you doing okay? Okay, sweet, let's just all be happy. And then I don't care if they go home and go, I fucking hate that British guy, piece of shit redcoat, fuck. Because then I've got good friends out here, I've got good people. Anyway, so I moved to LA partly because I was gonna kill myself if I stayed in New York, and I didn't want to do that. Secondly, because I wanted to live a healthier lifestyle, so I've given up drinking. I've started working out. I'm starting to be the character I want to be. I want to be a supervillain or a superhero in a Marvel or DC or brand new franchise, and I can only do that if I get Henry Cavill body, which I'm working on, and be here. And then also the third reason was career. Manager and agent said, "Hey, it's time for you to come to LA. Let's try and get you on some shows or some movies."
Cool.
So that's why I'm here. Yeah.
Hey, awesome.
But I bet you weren't expecting all of that, right? That's a bit deep.
No, that was you went right for it, man.
Yeah,
But
I'm
you're
living
not-
that
you're
kind of
not-
lifestyle.
You're not shy, so I don't have to ask too many questions to get you to talk, do I?
No, you're right. I know. I love the sound of my own voice. It's tiring for everyone
No,
in
you're
my
brilliant.
life.
Are you still doing stand up?
I do stand up. Yeah, I do stand up an awful lot. So I just did a run in New York where I had headline shows at Comedy Cellar, and I was shooting some stuff for Comedy Central for their This Week at the Cellar. Never made it into the final cut, but that's all right. They filmed 10.5 hours of stand up, and it gets cut down to 15 minutes, and they have to pick first of all a large number of comedy central talent is included in those recordings, even though they're not regulars at the club. So you know they're going to put their jokes in. It's all right. It's all good. It's all nice to be on people's radars and be performing. Plus they pay you, so why not?
Didn't you do a show with Catherine Ryan?
I did, yeah. She used to be my girlfriend. We were together for 4.5 years.
Really?
She's the girl whose
She
child.
is so funny. I love her. I absolutely adore her take on comedy.
Okay, well, then
I mean, you're funny too.
No, it's all right. I feel like
Did that
I feel like
relationship end badly?
I have nothing positive to add to that sentiment.
No, I'm so sorry.
That's all right. You don't need to be sorry. Here, I think she's a very talented performer, and I don't necessarily like the comedy she does now, but doesn't mean that it isn't liked by lots of other people. And my personal experiences of the kind of person she is will differ greatly to how people perceive her on TV. So if people enjoy her performance or her hosting or the show she does, more power to her. I hope she does great, because I love her daughter very much and always will feel like I'm her stepdad. And so I hope she has success so that her daughter... That was a child who I raised for 4 years, and then when she dumped me, she told me I couldn't see the little girl anymore because she didn't belong to me. So yeah.
Oh, Jeff, that sucks so much.
Yeah, I mean, well, there we go.
I'm sorry I brought it up, man.
No, don't be sorry, dude.
You know who else I like?
Who's that?
Sarah Pascoe.
Sarah Pascoe is very funny. Yeah, Sarah Pascoe is very talented.
You didn't date her, did you?
Never dated Sarah Pascoe. Sarah Pascoe and we got on pretty well until me and Catherine broke up. And then her and a large number of the comedy community in England were like, who's more famous out of these two people? Catherine. I guess we'll be just pieces of shit to Jeff instead. That was another reason for me moving to America. But I think here's the deal. It's interesting that you bring that up, because another thing that has happened since I moved to LA is being very honest about the things that held me back, the things personally that I allowed to hold myself back from success, from growing as an individual. And one of that was resentment and anger and frustration towards people who've wronged me in my life. And I guarantee that a lot of those people aren't sitting around at home going, I fucked over Jeff Leach and I'm going to think about that all day. They're not. They're off doing their own things, having a great time, fucking over more people. Whereas I'm the only one who was hurting out of that situation, constantly punishing myself for the way I was treated or allowing myself to be treated, or the things that broke down in those relationships, rather than going, it happened, I have no control over it anymore, move on, have control in the things that I'm doing now, the relationships I'm having with people now. So it's actually interesting that you would bring her up, because I think it's kind of great. I think I do genuinely, I'm reaching a place now where I'm going, do I like the person? No. But do I hold the resentment anymore? I have to. I don't know if I'm 100% there yet, but I'm 100% trying to move towards being able to say, I don't hold any resentment. More power to you. Keep succeeding, keep thriving. And I'm going to just focus on my own path of thriving, and growing as an individual. Yeah. But it is interesting, man, because, it's a small world, like the performance world.
It is a small world, yeah.
Once you're in it and you're succeeding in a career within the arts, there is really only ever 1 degree of separation between you and everyone else. Not 5. I think it's 1. And I'm going to meet lots of people who know and work with people that I don't necessarily think are nice people, but are successful. And you have to just go, okay, that's all right. That's just the way the industry works,
It's a funny industry. It is.
Yeah.
No pun intended. It is a funny industry.
Yeah, exactly. But look us. We're two guys who are thriving. I love that. You, I do hope that you have immense continued success yourself, because you seem like such a sweet and genuine guy. I liked how funny you were on the DMs on Twitter. So I was like, oh, this is going to be a nice chat. And also, not only, outside of like learning a huge amount about you and your process of creating art, and also how you feel about, the worlds of voice acting, on stage acting, and also this creation of characters that seems to be such a passion and a love of yours. You're also a very genuine, sweet guy who I'm very glad to see succeeding. So I hope that continues for the rest of your life, man. And,
thank you very much. And likewise, I went, I internet searched you.
Did you hear my animation reel? What did you think? Or you didn't?
No, I didn't hear your animation reel.
You can give me feedback when you've had to listen to it.
I'll go look for it.
I'd be quite honored to hear what you think of it. There's a few updates that need to be done. It's 6 years old, but yeah, I hope you enjoy it. And
I went and watched some of your stand up. And then I watch some of your podcasts as well. But the only stand-ups I could find on YouTube, and maybe I just didn't look hard enough.
One of the Comedy
But
Cellar and one of the
there were
Ice
a couple,
House. Just
they're
two.
a couple
Yeah.
years ago, yeah.
Yeah, I removed a lot of
and
stuff
it was
because
really
I was like,
interesting to watch them actually, because one of them was an earlier version of the same set, and I guess the Comedy Cellar one was a later version. You'd really refined it.
yeah.
Am I right about that?
Yeah, there was one that's a more refined version of the other one, and I was actually thinking of
Yeah.
uploading a longer form of. Basically, I removed a lot of stuff because I wanted to save it for a special. You know, I'm like, if I put this out on the internet, it's out there. But actually, these days, I mean, chasing a Netflix special is not really the be all and end all. Not that I'm ever going to turn down that opportunity. However, I think these days, if you can shoot something really nice yourself and put it out in your own way for your fans, that can build ticket sales. That can build supporters of your podcast. That can build, the GameStop Managers event I just did in Nashville for Square Enix brought me hundreds of new followers online and listeners of the podcast, of this podcast. And I know they're going to lose their shit when they find out you're on this episode, So I think
I hope they don't lose it, because I'm a firm believer that you should always know where your shit is.
always know where your shit is, but then store it. But then occasionally you can throw a bit of it out in a kind of, you can give it away rather than losing it. How about that?
Yeah.
You can temporarily lose some of your shit, but keep the majority of your shit.
There was a fantastic comedian. I can't remember who it was. So whoever it is, if you're out there listening to this, it's you. But he divided people into two categories: putters and leavers. And putters are people who put shit someplace and they remember where they've put it.
Yeah.
And leavers are people who leave shit someplace and then can't find it later on.
Yeah.
So, you have to ask yourself if you're a shit putter or a shit leaver.
What about the takers? And those are the people that just every morning take a really good shit.
Takers, they just get up and go, I hate myself.
Yeah. Oh, I was definitely one of those for many years. Anyway, enough about my relationship with Catherine Ryan. Hey, there you go, brought it full circle. Listen, Doug, thank you so much for taking time to chat to me today. I wanted to do a few things. So if people want to check you out, you've actually been doing some live streams on Twitch with one of your friends who's a broadcaster on there.
Yeah.
Which I think is a wonderful thing to do, to be, one of these icons of the video gaming world and take part in something that is so intrinsically a passion of gamers, which is to watch other people play games and to talk, to hang out with each other. If people want to find out when you're doing those streams or what new projects you've got coming up, where can they find you on social media?
Best place to find me is on Twitter. It's just @dcockle.
Okay, lovely.
Because that's where I post most things. I'm on Instagram as well. It's just Doug Cockle.
And that's Cockle, right?
That's right. Cockle, like cockles and mussels alive.
Cockles and mussels. There we go. Which is a reference no Americans will get, I don't think. Okay, so Doug Cockle on Instagram, dcockle on Twitter. And also, who's the streamer that you're doing these broadcasts with?
Her name's Kelly, but she goes by the Opera Geek. She's a professionally trained opera singer. She's brilliant. And what I've been getting on with her lately doing, although we just finished it, was she was playing Witcher 3 Blood and Wine.
Amazing.
So I was just, mocking her as she made decisions and stuff.
I love that. With the inside voice of Geralt as well, I imagine. I love it.
Yeah, every once in a while. Yeah, I just, improvise some lines for Geralt when he wasn't speaking.
Amazing.
But we're going to get on again because there's this other thing. And I don't know when this podcast is going to go out, Jeff, but there's this charity.
This will go out this weekend, actually, on Sunday.
Oh, awesome. There's this charity I love to support. It's called Special Effect. And we're going to get on, me and Kelly are going to get on and do something for that soon. But there's this other thing I've been doing, and you'll see it come up soon. I provided the voice for the promo materials for Stand Up to Cancer.
Oh, nice.
2019 campaign. Yeah. So that's going to come out soon. But Game On is the Stand Up to Cancer campaign for gamers. So you're going to see it come up. Kelly and I are going to get on and we're going to play something. We don't know what yet. We might do worms or something like that. Okay, that's good fun. But yeah, anybody watching this who's into games, Stand Up to Cancer, Game On, it's coming up. Just have a look on social media. Look on mine. As soon as they start plugging it, I'm going to plug it myself.
Well, I was going to say, and so what is there going to be? Stand-up comedy is going to be part of this as well?
I don't know. I have no idea. But the Game On thing is really about
that part of it.
People who are streaming games getting on and donating a stream to Stand Up to Cancer, so people can get on, watch, contribute, donate,
wonderful
stuff like that. It was awesome last year to be part of it. So when they asked me to be part of it this year, I just went, yeah.
Absolutely. So make sure
look
you
out
check
for
that out, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you go and support that effort by Doug and by the Opera Geek, and also make sure you follow him, D Cockle on Twitter, Doug Cockle on Instagram. Show him some love. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you. I'm gonna mute you. I'm gonna play our outro music whilst you're blowing me kisses. Appreciate it. Love you, dude. Take care. Take care, sir.
Bye.